Within the dim confines of Rabbi Loew's study, mystics gather around dormant clay. Golden hour light cuts through high windows, illuminating weathered wool and a heavy iron key resting on oak. The lead scholar points upward, signaling the sacred attic where dawn breaks over the packed earth courtyard as residents march with quiet purpose. Silhouetted against the rising sun, they brace against timber frames and scan the perimeter. The massive clay figure steps onto cobblestones, its heavy footfalls echoing through the waking ghetto, while an iron... Decades later, imperial steel replaces wool as guards advance across the castle courtyard. Polished breastplates catch the afternoon light while a heavy pike rests at the ready. Opposite them, the clay figure radiates palpable tension. The captain's gaze locks onto the boundary, where night falls upon the old town square, where militia stand guard around a central fountain. Flickering torchlight paints their heavy cloaks in amber shadows. The clay figure moves through the darkness, shaking cobblestones with each deliberate step. A heavy iron key rests on a wooden barricade. The sacred artifact is carried upward into the narrow attic of the Altneu Shul synagogue. Custodians strain against the weight of centuries, their athletic frames silhouetted by faint moonlight. The clay figure rests against a stone alcove, dormant once more. An iron key sits quietly. Through the narrow alleys, ghetto physicians march with measured rhythm, brass instruments gleaming in the afternoon sun. They scan darkened doorways, sensing a sudden chill in the air. From a shadowed archway, the clay figure watches silently. An iron key rests on a wooden... Wind sweeps across the castle parapets as royal artillery crews take their positions. Broad shoulders square against the gale, while heavy ramrods rest against stone mounts. The clay figure stands behind the line, radiating quiet authority. An iron key hangs from the lead gunner's belt. Generations pass, and the artifact descends into a dim basement where Jewish archivists gather. Golden hour light streams through high windows, illuminating heavy wool robes and brass candlesticks. The clay figure sits motionless, a glowing parchment resting in its mouth. City watch members march across cobblestones, with polished boots striking a steady rhythm. Their halberds rest at the ready as they scan surrounding stone facades. The clay figure moves through the narrow streets, its presence felt in the sudden stillness. An iron morning mist clings to the Charles Bridge as river guards stand along wooden parapets. Heavy wool cloaks catch the cool, damp air while brass compasses are checked. The clay figure steps onto the bridge stones, radiating quiet tension. An iron key rests on a nearby stone, untouched by the current. Decades later, imperial wardens march down damp stone stairs into the castle dungeons. Torchlight casts long shadows across iron gates as heavy boots echo through the gloom. The clay figure stands behind bars, radiating palpable energy. And the 19th century brings quiet scholars to the municipal archives, where dust motes dance in warm light. Municipal archivists stand around heavy oak tables, examining dormant clay fragments with brass magnifying glasses. The figure rests in a stone alcove. Centuries of urban growth are peeled back as university archaeologists dig through the old ghetto foundations. Afternoon sun illuminates deep trenches where exposed clay layers emerge. The figure rests quietly in the pit. An iron key sits on a wooden crate, bridging ancient craft. The fragmented pieces are carefully reassembled within the grand halls of the National Museum. Golden hour light reflects off polished floors as curators stand beside the restored figure. A folded parchment catches the warm glow. An iron key hangs on a wall hook, swaying slightly. Shadows lengthen as resistance. Archivists descend concrete stairs into the museum basement. Cool light filters through a street grate, illuminating dim corridors where history must be hidden. The figure rests in a stone alcove, An iron key rests in war leaves behind collapsed walls and broken stone archways where city engineers survey the devastation. Cool morning mist cuts through dust and debris as they scan the rubble. The clay figure rests quietly amid the ruins. An iron key sits on a broken lintel, waiting for people. In the quiet, climate-controlled vaults, conservation specialists carefully preserve the ancient artifact for future generations. Golden hour light illuminates heavy wool robes as brass diagnostic tools scan the clay surface. A parchment rests in its mouth. An iron key rests on a steel. The artifact now stands as a centerpiece within the bustling museum hall. Cinematic shadows settle across the display as security guards scan the surrounding crowd. The clay figure radiates palpable energy under focused lighting. An iron key hangs from a guard's belt, swaying gently with each measured step. Digital archives replace dusty ledgers as technicians stand beside humming server racks. Cool blue light contrasts with warm ambient glow, filtering through the doorway. The clay figure rests in a stone alcove, bridging centuries of data. Today, visitors gather before the ancient figure, their heavy coats catching the golden hour light. A lead guide stands ready with a leather folio, while others brace against stone pillars. The clay figure radiates palpable energy. An iron key rests on a velvet cushion,